Hmm. You're probably wondering, what do these two games have in common? Believe it or not, these two are the same exact game, except this is the US version of Ninja Gaiden 3, the Ancient Ship of Doom, as many people know, and this is the Japanese version, Ninja Ryukenden 3. Despite just having regional differences, there are lots of differences between these two games. As you know, Ninja Gaiden 3 is one of the most hardest games on the NES system, due to the heightened difficulty, limited continues, etc., etc. This game, believe it or not, this version is actually easier than this game right here. Today I'm going to show you why. And usually playing the Japanese version may be less punishing for beginner players for playing Ninja Gaiden. So today I'm going to take you back to NES land or Famicom land, wherever you're from, to show you the differences. So let's check this out, shall we?
Well, aside from the text from being English to Japanese, the Japanese version has lots of differences. As you can see here, the Japanese version has a password option, which is noticeably absent in the US release. And also, in the Japanese release, the tone has been toned down a bit. One of the biggest noticeable difference between the US and Japanese release is that when you die in the US release, you go all the way back to the beginning of that area. Just like how I was on 22D, now I'm back on 22A. Whereas in the Japanese release, when you die on a stage, you start back on the stage that you just died on, making the game much, much easier. This is also true during boss fights as well. When you die on a boss in the Japanese version, you just go back to the previous stage you died from. So I was on 33A, now on 32D. In the US release, however, when you die on a boss, you go all the way back to the beginning of the previous area you were just at, therefore being able to beat the whole area over again. I want to go and skip ahead for a bit, okay? As you know, this is the last boss of the game. This is the first form, okay? Like in many previous Ninja Gaiden games, the final boss always has 3 forms, okay? If you die on any forms of the last boss in the US release, okay, you go all the way back to the previous area. So you're all the way back to 7-3A, okay? But the good side of this is that if you manage to make it back to the last boss, going all the way back through 7-3, you can start right back on the second form of the last boss, though. As long as you don't get game over or lose all your lives. I'll talk more about that later. And as you guessed in the Japanese release, when you die anytime on the last boss, you just go back to the previous room you were just in. And also, if you die on a second or third form of the last boss, you go right back to that form of that last boss. So therefore, you don't have to rebeat the first or second form over again. A major reason why the Japanese release is much, much easier than the US release is that when you die and lose all your lives and get game over, you get a password, therefore allowing you to shut off the game and continue your progress some other time. And also, you only have to go back and do 7-3A. And if you make it back up to the final boss, you go right back to the last form of the final boss. In the US release, however, when you die and lose all your lives and get game over, you have a limited amount of continues, which means you have 5 continues left according to the screen, and guess what? You guessed it, you're all the way back to 7-1A. And to add to the difficulty, and if you manage to make it back up to the final boss, you have to refight the previous forms of the final boss over again. Ain't that a bitch?
So, some people were asking, which version's better? Well, gameplay-wise, they're exactly the same. But in terms of difficulty and challenge-wise, it depends on what you're looking at, okay? The US version is definitely better if you're looking for more of a challenge, if you're looking for something to really challenge you as your efforts as a gamer. And this has something that really you just want to come back to every now and then just to challenge yourself to see if you can beat this game, you know what I'm saying? Like when you just want to go back and just try to beat this game, even if you cannot beat this game, and even if you can only make it to like the final boss or maybe halfway through, this game has something about it that just makes this game you just want to come back to and just try and beat it, you know. As futile as you try, though, but it's like the husband that always beats you up, but you always come back to it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels like, or the spouse that always beats you up. The Japanese version some people feel it's a bit too easy at times, you know what I'm saying? It takes away a lot of the difficulty, and in a way it does, because I was able to beat this game easily, the Japanese version, I was able to beat this game easily. I could probably beat this game in about 30 to 45 minutes at most. But I think the Japanese version is better for people that are just beginning Ninja Gaiden games and all that. Like if you're just first playing Ninja Gaiden games, I think this game is a great start to start out with. The only problem with this is that the Japanese version is rare. To get the actual legit Famicom cart is rare, and the Famicom systems are rarer to find yet. That's not too hard to find though. You can always buy yourself one of these, called a Famiclone. This is a Yobo Famiclone, as you can see here. That's not too much. Those usually cost about $30 or so, but this is usually going to cost you a bit more, probably like at least $50 to $100. I bought this one for about $40 on eBay with the case and booklet and everything. I managed to find this. I bought this imported. Okay, but all you ROM downloaders out there can always go out and download the ROM. Hint, hint. And it's also called, the Japanese version is called Ninja Ryu Kenden 3. That's what the Japanese name of the game is called, if you don't want to buy the legit cart. But since I'm a retro junkie, as you all know, I own the actual cart. And a lot of people, and this game has gotten a bad name over the years, because this game has different gameplay than the previous two. Mainly because of the floaty jump, the convoluted storyline doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at times, which makes the Japanese thing well worth picking up, because if you don't really care about the storyline, if you just want to go back to the gameplay, the Japanese ones are well worth picking up, and also has a lessening difficulty, and the less punishing difficulty for you is also there too. But I do like this game though. This game is probably one of my favorite games on the NES. This game is considered the black sheep of the series because of the different type of gameplay, the weird power-ups here and there, and the storyline that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, you know. But if it's just something that you just want, like really, really great gameplay and all that, this game is really well worth picking up or playing. Ninja Gaiden 3 for life. This is Jedi. Sign.